Good day, I'm Maile Matsiba. Welcome back to our channel. We continue with the 2017 study guide. We're looking at example 3.3 part 2. In our previous video, as I was recording example 3.3, I couldn't record it to the end. Just before I started with step 3, or just after I started with step 3, the video cut it off because of the space in the phone, so I was not able to actually record it to the end. And I promised with a comment on our channel that I'm gonna bring another video, which is part 2, where I actually explain step 3. So this is actually our step 3. So it's part 2 of example 3.3. Now it says convert the temperature difference K in the CP units, which are calorie per gram mole Kelvin, into degrees Fahrenheit. So we've already converted the real temperature. Now we need to convert the difference temperature, the temperature difference K in the units of CP. We convert it into degrees Fahrenheit. Now I just want to bring back the equation. Just make sure that I bring back the equation so that we can be able to look at it. I think it will be easier that way. So the equation is CP equals to 160.97 plus 0.3556 T, right? So this is actually the equation. I think in the previous video I did explain it further, where T is actually the temperature, the real temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if we go into be converting the temperature, or the temperature difference K from Kelvin into degrees Fahrenheit, it's important to understand that because this stands individually, we need to be able to convert this into calorie gram mole Kelvin, or rather calorie gram mole degrees Fahrenheit, which means in these units we need to convert the K to degrees Fahrenheit, and also here we need to also convert the K into degrees Fahrenheit. But it shouldn't be so complicated. I'll just take you through it. So with that said, we know that the units of, let me just write it down. The units of 166.97 are calorie per gram mole Kelvin. So this is because it's almost like a constant. So if it's calorie per gram mole Kelvin, that means that if we're going to be calculating the CP, this number here is actually going to be consistent with the units that we already know, which are calorie per gram mole Kelvin. So if we want the units of CP to actually be calorie per gram mole degrees Fahrenheit, we need to make sure that we amend this so that we actually change the K. And it shouldn't be so difficult. We can just say therefore 166.97, just rewrite it, calorie per gram mole Kelvin, right? These are the original units, the units of this, and then we do what we know, or what we've been doing all along. It's 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that gives us 92.76 calorie per gram mole degrees Fahrenheit. So just that easy. So on the other hand, now that we have converted these units, we need to come here, but it's important to understand or realize that we have a variable T there. Here it was a constant, which means in whatever way we plug in there, we wouldn't really affect the units of this number, right? But now with this one is very much different, but I think it's not so difficult. Also, I'll find a way of explaining it. I believe it's throughout solving it will be much more easier. And we can say the units the units of this number here, 0.35556, are calorie per gram mole Kelvin degrees Fahrenheit. So there are two temperatures here. So why is there two temperatures? Remember, in essence, we know we have already discussed in the previous video that this equation has T, right, as the real temperature, and that temperature is in degrees Fahrenheit, but the CP, the units of CP are calorie per gram mole Kelvin, which means that every time even after we plugged in degrees Fahrenheit here, the units of CP needs to still be calorie per gram mole Kelvin. With that said, this highlights to us that actually there is a degrees Fahrenheit here. Why? Because, well, if I had another highlight, I'll show it. Because now when we're going to be plugging, like in this instance, when we're going to be plugging a T here, that T or whatever that value we plug into here, it has your degrees Fahrenheit. And with that said, that F will cancel, that degrees Fahrenheit will cancel this one, and we will still have that. I think throughout that an example will be much more easy. So not an example, but throughout solving it, it will be much more easy. Six, right? Calorie per gram mole degrees Fahrenheit, right? Or rather Kelvin, sorry, let me rewrite it. Gram mole Kelvin degrees Fahrenheit. Now, with that said, we need to convert. What are we converting? We need to convert the K into degrees Fahrenheit. So, which means we're going to say 1K all over 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit, and the K cancels out, and then we left with 0.1975 calorie per gram mole degrees Fahrenheit. So this is actually the new value. Now the CP equals to 92.76 plus 0.1975 T, right? With T, or rather with CP in calorie per gram mole degrees Fahrenheit, and T in degrees Fahrenheit. So this is actually the new equation where we have amended, well, when we compared with the first equation that we have been given of capital letter T, here we have actually amended the real temperature. We changed it from Kelvin into degrees Fahrenheit. We've also changed the units, the temperature difference in the units, and here the temperature difference in the units here from Kelvin into degrees Fahrenheit. So this is what is it, and I just need to highlight that it's important not to be confused, because another thing that can be confused is that why is it that when we put the 0.1975 we had 2 degrees Fahrenheit and degrees Fahrenheit, but then when we talk about the units of CP we say it's only that. Remember that the units of this, if the units of this value like we did here are actually this, then we have a variable here which is a temperature, like I explained it. Just like here, the units of this, you see what they are? The units of this are actually calorie, gram mole, degrees Fahrenheit. But this, because there's a T here, if you're going to be calculating the CP value, you're going to be coming with a temperature of degrees Fahrenheit. And as you plug it there, you've added a degrees Fahrenheit. And this is underneath, it will fall off. So every time you plug in a temperature here, this will fall off and you're going to be left with calorie per gram mole Kelvin. That's why only the units of this value that has T as a variable, here, this, the value of this that has T as a variable, it actually has these units. But the overall units of CP, after you have plugged in an F here, a degrees Fahrenheit here, they become calorie per gram mole degrees Fahrenheit, because the other degrees Fahrenheit falls off because of the T, the degrees Fahrenheit that comes with the temperature here. I hope it's clearer, but I believe with more time it will be much more easy for one to understand it. But in essence, it's not so difficult. So thank you for your time, and I hope we meet again in our next video. And also note that this is actually our last example of section 1. We're going to be going to section 2. I would have loved that by now I actually find some class tests and semester tests based on the section 1 work, but I couldn't really succeed, but I believe I should. I'm not gonna wait for that. I'll continue with section 2, and along the way, as I find that content, your class tests and the semester tests, especially the first semester test and the first 2 class tests, I'll then make sure that I make a video and then I post it. So thank you for your time. Hope to meet you again on our next video.